Welcome back to another episode of the Edmo Show. So, of course, we got a special guest here today. But before we go anywhere, let me just read our sponsor guest, his little ad, and then we're going to bring him in. Many of us struggle with credit at some point in our lives. I know I have. If you have a 400 to 699 credit score and you want an increase, I have a connection who is here with us today that can legally erase negative things like repos, foreclosures, late payments, medical bills, student loans, evictions, and more. Just contact my friend Michael Stanley Jr., the Credit Savage, at 717-609-4829 and text the word credit. You guys will get amazing results because I know I am. So because we got the Credit Savage in the building, you guys get to see, boom, the man of the hour.
What's going on, Keenan, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, good sir? How are you?
I am doing good. I like the fact that you put "I know I am." I
Hmm.
like that. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, because I am. I'm not gonna say nothing that's not happening.
All right.
I mean, one thing I can say is thank you for all the help that you have been providing over to me as a friend, but as a client as well. You've given me a lot of education. You've given me a lot of feedback. You've actually helped me, and of course, I'm going to divulge some of my own personal business. You've helped me in the course of we started working together when November.
Yeah, about around that time. Yeah,
Yeah, November, December. So between November, December to May of 2022, I went from I think what was it, a 580 to a 720 to a 719. And it's all
that's all.
thanks to you, man.
That's awesome, man. That's what we all about, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
No,
so
I
go
gotta
ahead.
give a round of applause to you, my good sir.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
Hey, it was a lot of hard work, a lot of skip dates, a lot of top ramen, but a lot of bill payment. But a lot of it, I can go into it charging head first because I had confidants like you in my corner that was educating me, letting me know. Even when I was getting some of those scary letters in the mail, you're like, "Hey, don't
Mhm.
worry about it. Just keep pushing, just keep paying. Just let me know if anything else pops up, I'll take care of it from my end." So I really want to appreciate. I really want to show my appreciation and really thank you for all your help and all your services.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what I do for any client. But you wasn't just my client. You're a friend too. So
Mm.
we got history. So I'm definitely gonna go all out.
Yeah. So of course, as you guys know, today's episode is going to be about credit. And can you please educate us the same way you educated me on this whole credit game? Because I know, especially times like now with COVID, people losing jobs, people, having to depend on credit cards because, like I've talked about, I turned to credit cards because I took a very serious financial hit, and it took me a couple years to get out of. So,
Mhm.
what are some sort of things that you typically see that land people in trouble?
So you said the perfect word, like credit game, because that's exactly what it is. It's a game. And once you know how to play the game, know the rules of the game, you can put yourself in a better financial situation. But first, you gotta learn the rules of this game. Some things that put you in a bad situation is just we're not educated. So I know I went to school, I went to college. We didn't talk about credit. We didn't talk about how to leverage your credit. My parents didn't know, so they couldn't pass it on to me about how to leverage your credit, how to if you get in a bad situation, how to fix your credit. This is things you got to kind of seek outside of the family household unless somebody knows it. And I encourage everyone to know it and pass it on over to your family because that's how generational wealth is created.
Mm. So when you're talking about leveraging credit, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, so just knowing how to, because you can actually get, I'm not going to say rich, but you can actually get pretty wealthy off of credit if you know how to use credit cards, if you know how to use this credit game. Okay.
Mm.
So pretty much. Oh, I have to backtrack just a little bit.
Mhm.
So what's going to get you into credit debt is I went to college. I know you went to college also.
Mhm.
First thing in college, what do they always throw down your walking down the hallway? You might see somebody with a stand, a table. Here, here's a free credit card for you, right?
Mm.
So now you got $2,000 at your disposal. Um, you rack it up. We all was poor college students, just
Mhm.
trying to get education. But you rack it up on whether that's food, clothes, whatever you need, things that you might need. But
Mhm.
you
Trying
know,
to finesse the honeys.
finesse the finesse the honeys, yes. But you rack it up,
Mm.
you really don't have those funds to pay it. So you might start off good paying the minimum, right?
Mm.
Paying a minimum down payment or minimum payment. And but things happen, you miss a payment here, get back on track. Things happen again, you miss another payment. Then two payments become three, then more. And that starts that snowball of bad credit. Okay.
Mhm.
So that travels with you after college, all into your adulthood, and it just keeps going. Those
Mhm.
same bad habits just keep on going. You get other things in credit because hey, we'll give you this on credit. Just sign here.
Mhm.
Best Buy cards, all kinds of stuff, and that's what's bringing down your credit. Unfortunately for me, when I was younger, I got a credit card in college. Didn't really know much about credit, right? So in college, I didn't even really use my credit card. I left it like on my desk in my room. And a family member unfortunately took my credit card. I went to go look for it one day. It was gone. Me thinking I might have lost it, not really
Mhm.
worrying about it. It pop up. It pop up whenever I find it. I don't really need it right now until I got my statement. My statement had,
Mm.
yep, my statement had $2,000. I'm looking at my statement like, wait a minute, I haven't even used this thing yet.
Yeah.
How? So I called them. Hey, I have this on my statement saying I owe this amount. Um, they went through, their necessary process. Then they asked me, hey, would you like to do a what you call investigation?
Mhm.
Yes, I would, please. Because I haven't even used this card. So
Mhm.
couple days go by, they call me back. Hey, do you know a such and such? God doggone. Yes, I do. Would
Mhm.
you like to this could all get wiped away, Mr. Stanley. Would you like to press charges or file a report on this person? No, I'm not going to do that. That's my
Ooh,
family member.
yeah.
So I had to take that hit, and that started
Yeah.
my whole downturn with credit. And two, I got educated, and two, I was able to get myself out the hole, and then I started helping everybody else because I know a lot of people just don't know how to this whole game.
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember as a kid, my very first experience with credit was watching Rocco's Modern Life, and they had a special on there. I guess he had gotten a credit card, and that was back when you had to put your credit card in like this machine, and they rack it,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess charge it like that. And
Yep.
I remember Rocco was buying a whole bunch of stuff, and then like he had this elaborate like setup in his house, and then all the debt collectors came because I guess he didn't realize he had to pay it back or pay on it. And then they came and took all this stuff. So me as a kid, I'm sitting there like, well, you mean I can buy this stuff that I like and then they can come and take it? No, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. So I think some of the first impressions about credit, and I've even heard people stay away from credit cards, stay away from credit cards. They're a trap, and it's like to me, it's like, well, what do I do? Like you're telling me if I need to buy a house, buy a car, buy something, I need credit, but how do I get credit?
Yes, exactly, exactly. So yes, that's people are quick to say stay away from credit cards. Usually, it's the people who had a bad encounter with a credit card. They went
Mm.
in debt because of credit cards, and they haven't had good responses with credit cards. But credit cards are actually good if you know how to use them. Okay,
Mhm.
and since we're on credit cards, so uh, once again, credit cards can be good, but where people um, mess up at is you have a $2,000 limit or higher, whatever you have. A lot of people just don't know. They know about the statement date. They see the statement date, see this big list. They really don't know how to read that. The most important thing about credit card is to know when they report to the bureaus.
Mhm.
Okay. So the report statement, that's what you want to know. And they don't send that out to you. That's the
Mhm.
trap. They won't send that out to you until you call. Hey, when do you report my credit card to the bureau? They're going to give it to you. But
Mhm.
you could you could spend your credit card. So a credit card is a revolving line of credit.
Mhm.
Reason it's a revolving line of credit because you use it over and over and over again. So you could use your credit card,
Mhm.
but before that report date, you should be able to pay the amount that you use off. Pay it. I recommend pay it off. Don't pay half, just pay it off
Mhm.
before they report it to the bureaus. So when they report it to the bureaus, they saying, hey, Michael Stanley, he used $200 of his $2,000 line of credit. So this is information they won't give to you unless you call them. Hey, when is my report date? When do
Mhm.
you guys report um, to the bureaus? So that's
Mhm.
what you want to know. That's the most for anybody that got a credit card. Right after this, please call your credit card company and get your report date.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm probably gonna do that as soon as we get off the call because I didn't even know that. I
Mhm,
knew, you got to pay the statement before like the bill comes out or before the end of the month or whenever. But I didn't know like that they were something else on top of it to where they will report something before the statement even comes out. So
mhm,
that's definitely new information for me. Now as far as like building credit, especially uh me as a young millennial, it's kind of weird because my wife and I we were sitting down, we were and I'm looking over at her. My wife doesn't really have a lot of credit. Of course, she has a phone bill, but she doesn't have a lot of credit in her name. And then it's like, boom, 700 credit score. But then it's like me, I've had credit cards for years, house, cars, boom, 580 points. It's like, wait a minute. Can you explain that to me? Like, how is it? Some people, because it seems like, and we've all heard it, certain people have better credit than other certain kinds of people.
mhm. So a lot of the times it depends on what you have.
Mhm.
So I actually came prepared for this question. I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna actually show you a little pie chart here.
Okay.
So this is what helps you like establish or boost your credit, get
Mhm.
the highest credit possible. So
Mhm.
35% of this pie right here,
Okay.
35 35% of this pie is payment history.
Mhm.
So what do that means? That just means paying your bills on time, right?
Mhm.
So I always say if you can't put your bills or anything on auto payment, you might want to rethink about, do I really need this? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Try to put your light bills, car payments, put all of that on auto payment because we're human, right?
Mhm.
Things come up, we forget things, but if it's on auto payment, that's one less thing you got to think about. Okay,
Okay.
so just simply paying your bills on time help raise your credit, right?
Mhm.
Next, it's going to be amount owed. So the
Okay.
amount of credit that you owe, or the
Okay.
amount of money that you owe on all your bills. If those are down minimum, let's say you have a Mastercard, right?
Mhm.
And you have a $2,000 limit. If you at a zero balance every month, yes, you used it, but you paid it before that report date, and they report, hey, he has a zero balance. They report it to the bureaus. Hey, he has a zero balance every month.
Mhm.
That's just boosting your credit once again.
Okay.
All right. So the next one, length of credit. Okay. Length
Mhm.
of credit. So credit is like fine wine. You know, the older it is, the
Mhm.
better.
Okay.
Okay. So that means that, like a mortgage, if you had a mortgage for 10, 20 years, you know, that's actually boosting your credit. And if it's in good standing, you're paying your mortgage every month anyway.
Mhm.
But that's boosting your credit. Car payment, you had that for 2 years. That's boosting your credit.
Mhm.
Okay. So length of credit. and then new credit. Okay, so anything that's new, long as it's in positive standing, good
Hmm.
credit, that's 10%. And then the last 10% is type of credit. So I told you earlier that credit card is a revolving line of credit, but you have things like your mortgage, your car payment. That's installment credit.
Hmm.
Okay, so installment credit is just like I said, mortgage, car payments, anything that's fixed and that
Okay.
you're gonna pay down. Revolving, anything that you use, pay back, use, pay back. Okay. So
Okay.
those things there is what helps you get your credit up. Okay. What helps your credit to increase.
Okay. So in talking about length of credit, because one of the things that I've noticed, especially with my current mortgage lender, that sometimes, especially with mortgage companies, because I've heard of other people experiencing this too. They'll get a mortgage company or they'll get a mortgage, and then the
Mhm.
company will sell their mortgage to another company.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I've noticed is that it sometimes it pops up as like a new debtor, I guess.
Yeah, it will.
Okay, so does that negatively impact your credit?
No, no, that doesn't
Okay.
negatively impact your credit. So your credit could be or your mortgage could be in good standing. They
Mhm.
just gave it to it actually happened to me because I was with um I was with I went got my mortgage through USAA. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, veteran home loan, and they popped it on over to a company out here in PA. So yeah, no, it's not gonna hurt your credit in a negative way. It won't
Okay.
hurt it at all.
Because I kept seeing like, oh, like kept getting these letters like, oh, your mortgage is now with X, Y, and Z. Wait a minute, what happened to y'all? Not gonna call me? Y'all not gonna ask me? Are you giving me a better rate?
No, it's 9 times out of 10, it's with somebody they're affiliate with
Mm,
anyway. So they just
mm.
moved it on over. Yeah.
I think
There's
we
nothing you
got
did negatively on your part.
okay. Hold up. I think we got. Oh, never mind. That was from something different. Sorry, because I noticed like sometimes we'll get comments and the comments don't always come through on
Hmm.
uh on the feed. So for whatever reason, like I'll end the show and then next thing you know, it's
All these
like I
comments
got a
pop up.
long list of comments that I never even seen because some comments will come through on my dashboard, then others won't. So all right, so getting back to it, how do we go about if you're new, like let's just say you're an 18-year-old kid fresh out of mommy and daddy's house, and you're trying to build your credit and you want to start the best way possible, what is a good way for someone to start building their credit in a healthy positive way, because
Yeah.
we already talked about burning up credit cards.
Hmm. So I'm pretty sure everybody heard of secure credit cards. Secure credit card is where you take your own money, put it on there, and if anything happened, it won't affect your credit like that. But you reap all the benefits as if you
Mm,
had a credit card. So this is for somebody coming out of high school, going into college. A secure credit cards, and parents can actually help them out with this. Put maybe like $1,000 on it, and have
mm,
them, you could teach them how to properly use a credit card that way. So I would recommend a secure credit card, and then everything else is just going to come as they, grow older. They're going to eventually get a car. They're going to eventually get apartments, mortgage, and things like that. Cell phones. That's
mm,
eventually going to come if they don't already have a cell phone. Nowadays, people come out of middle school with cell phones now. But
mm.
yeah, they eventually get all of that to establish that credit. But us as parents, I know, long as you have that talk, this is how you use credit. Never even putting things on auto pay if they have a job.
Mm.
Start them auto pay where it's just coming straight out of their normal paycheck. Okay,
Okay.
so if they use anything, um, get a candy bar. They don't have to worry about paying it. It just comes out of their normal paycheck.
Okay.
If they have a job.
Okay. So, so
Secure
since you brought up like parents helping kids, so what
Mhm.
about those parents that like to put the light bill and the cable bill in their child's name and they still in diapers? What about situations like that? Because I've
So,
actually known some people that actually had
yeah,
that happen to them.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the situation that happened to me when I was younger, right?
Mhm,
So that's definitely a no. Unless you want to establish credit for them.
mhm,
Now, if you want to establish credit and you got that mindset, hey, I'm building my little daughter, my little son future.
mhm.
Yes, and but never put it in there just because, hey, my credit's jacked up, so I'm gonna use another person's credit. Never do that. That's just
Yeah,
irresponsible, and
yeah,
I highly, highly do not recommend that.
yeah. Because I've seen,
That happens way too often.
yeah, I had a friend and her mom's credit was just horrendous. And she was
Mhm.
known for writing bounce checks and all this other stuff. And they were jumping from apartment to apartment. They were on public assistance. And then I guess when her credit or her name couldn't really hold any weight, she would put it in her kids' names.
See, that's stupid to me because you're not even giving your kids a shot. You're already messing up their future, like right
Mm,
off the bat, or they're already starting out in a negative. You know what I mean?
mhm,
So they grow up that they jack up their children credit under their children name. Now they starting out in a negative. Like they didn't even have a clean shot. You know,
mm,
that's the difference from like what the wealthy do and what certain other people do. Is it just it's not fair for the kids first of all,
mhm.
and it doesn't help them. Now if they once they get older, they get educated on this whole game, they could build themselves out, but it's kind of putting them behind the line a little bit.
Okay. So what about a strategy that I've kind of seen growing up, because I grew up in the black middle class. So,
Black
seeing
middle class.
yeah, so seeing kids with hoopties and buckets, and we had cars. They weren't always the nicest cars. Some kids had nice cars, some kids had the hand-me-down car, some kids had the auction car. But either way,
Mhm,
most of us had cars growing up to some extent. Now, one thing that I heard and I've seen is, when that kid hits that 16th birthday and they really want a car, the parent will co-sign the car, but the car is in the kid's name. Is
mhm.
that a strategy that you can use, especially for like parents who have teenagers?
That's a strategy. See, it all depends on the parent. It all
Mm,
depends on the mindset of the parent. Like
mm,
if they doing it to help the kid,
mm,
yes. And so I don't mind that. Um, but while we on co-signing, so a lot of times like our family members might come to us, hey, I'm trying to get this car, my credit, I can't get it unfortunately. I really need a car. Would you co-sign for me?
mm,
I always recommend people not to co-sign. Even friends that come to another friend, hey, can you co-sign for me? We've been best friends for X number of years. Can you co-sign? I always tell to salvage a friendship. I
mm,
always tell them no, even though that might actually taint the friendship. But just explain to them, hey, I don't co-sign because of this. I work so hard to get my credit up to wherever it is. Um, I do not co-sign. I'm sorry, but another thing you could do, you could, and it depends on where you at, but you can
mm.
actually buy the car from them and have them pay you. So if they
Okay.
ever miss a payment, you're pretty much the bank at that point.
Mm,
So if they ever miss a payment, you could legally take that car back because it's fully in your name. You're not going to miss your own payment. But
mm.
that's more like a advance. That's depends on where you are. Where you are
In this
in
money
your life.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's never cosign.
Okay. Okay. Now, uh, as most people know, me and my wife, we're still new into our marriage. We're still, because of COVID and just because of time and stuff, we're still going through the process of merging things together. And you and I talked offline about it.
Hmm.
So let's just say, one of the big thing is, people with marriages, your money's my money, yada yada yada, that type of stuff. But merging credit cards, and stuff like, because I've seen some in the social media space where you got people who have like these secret accounts and all types of other stuff. But let's just say you're one of those happy in love couples, and you just want to say, hey, for the sake of simplicity, why don't we just merge our accounts? Or let's just say one person has good credit, the other one not so much. how do you go about that process of merging like credit cards or things that will go on like credit report, houses, cars, and stuff like that?
Okay, perfect. So when it comes to credit cards, I don't mind it.
Hmm.
I don't mind that merger, but only as an authorized user. So what an authorized user is I say your wife goes on your credit card because you have great credit, right?
Hmm.
So since you have great credit, she goes on your credit card as an authorized user. She gets all that credit history, all that good stuff that you have on your credit report. She gets that as soon as she becomes an authorized user on your credit card. Okay. So
Hmm.
that helps boost her. Remember that whole pie chart, the credit
Hmm.
history, the length of credit, all that is goes on her credit card now, her credit history, her profile. So that
Okay.
helps boost her own credit. So you can actually help her out and get her up there to where you are very, very quickly in less time. So
Okay.
that's a very powerful thing. But I do recommend both of you guys have your own credit card, even if she has to get like $1,000 credit card,
Hmm.
and you have whatever you have, but also do the authorized user. And you could just simply call your credit card company, hey, I'd
Hmm.
like to put my wife as a authorized user. So
Okay.
on your credit card, that doesn't mean she could use your credit card. She just gets added as an authorized user. Make sense?
Hmm.
So she doesn't have she won't be able to use your credit card or anything like that. She just
Hmm.
get added as one. So a lot of people do this called trade lines. You ever
Hmm.
heard of trade lines? Yeah.
No, not really.
So back in the past, and maybe a little bit now, people were buying trade lines because it boosts your credit so fast. It's pretty much an authorized user. It's the same
Hmm.
thing. But people were buying this like, from just random people. Okay. So a few, probably like 5, 6 years ago, banks caught on to this, and you can still buy it, but the impact isn't as strong as if it's it's your wife, it's your family member. Like family
Mm.
is strong. It boosts their credit, boosts your credit if y'all are related.
Okay.
If it's your wife, it skyrocket their credit. But if it's just a regular stranger, it's not gonna really help no more like it
Okay.
did in the past. In the past, it take off, but not no more.
Okay.
So yes, I agree with that, and I like that.
Okay. Yeah, because one of the things that we're going through right now, as I told you in our personal conversations, I recently just bought a car.
Hmm.
Because my car was just on its last leg. I'm one of those people where I will run something until it just don't run no more. So, because one, I don't really like car payments. I hate it. I just feel like it's a bill that yeah, it's a bill that I don't like, and especially if it's like 3, 4, $500 a month, or
Hmm.
depending on what you get. So I've even seen some people where it's like $700 a month, depending on the type
Yeah.
of car or your credit.
Hmm.
Now, one of the things that my wife and I, we just bought another car, but then she also co-signed on a car with her father. So now we're going through that whole ordeal of change of cars changing hands and property and all types of other stuff. It is what would be your strategy as a new couple? I'm not saying someone who's been married or been with their significant other for years. What
Hmm.
would be your strategy for a brand new couple? Let's just say they are fresh out of college, they're getting their lives started. How would you advise them to go about building a this financial safety net or this credit safety net for them?
The hardest thing that couples usually don't do, but you have to, like you must, is the first communicate where you guys are in your, when it comes to credit. Hey, this is what, and you can simply go to annualcredit.com, pull out your print out your credit report. Hey,
Mhm.
this is what's on my credit. Um, and this is what I'm trying to fix. I see what's on your credit that you need to that we need to try to fix, and either bring it current, make it positive, get it deleted,
Mhm.
whatever. But just talk about, I feel like a lot of couples like to hide that stuff because
Mhm.
yes, we all have past. We all, did certain things that, messed up our credit, but we got to talk about, especially if you if you're married, that's your teammate now. That's your
Yeah.
partner. That's, she should or he should know everything about you. You know what I mean? They should know what's going on with you. So don't hide that stuff. Especially that's the one person you shouldn't
Mhm.
hide it from. So the
Mhm.
communication first. All
Mhm.
right. And then second, it would be, so you said something about the car, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing if my math is correct, I'm just throwing it out there. You guys have 3 cars now? Because you
2,
just
'cause
bought a new
2.
one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
sold
okay.
the old one for the new one. Speaking of which, hey, babe. Yeah, so we sold my old car because the car was just it was becoming more of a money dump than it was,
Okay. Okay.
reliable transportation. So we ended up buying a new car together, but now we're also acquiring her car, which was also co-signed by her and her father.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so definitely that communication.
Mhm,
Second, it's going to be that credit card. Whoever has the best, because now you guys want to help each other. So
mhm.
whoever has the best credit, that authorized user, get on that other person credit card as an authorized user. So all that positive stuff could go right onto your credit profile. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now, what about I'm pretty sure we've heard things, especially in the age of student loans. Your debt is her debt, and or his debt is her debt, and stuff like that. Now, is there instances where someone's negative credit can impact someone with good credit?
Yeah, that does happen. That does happen. And sometimes that's why it's good to know what's on your credit report and check it often.
Mm,
Sometimes once you get married and you're married for some time, uh, your credit kind of like some things might go on the other person credit. Okay.
mm,
It might just go on the other person credit for whatever reason. Who knows? And a lot of times once a person like uh nah, I'm sorry. I don't want to. I say it. You guys are good, but a
we
lot
better
of
be.
times when a person, separate,
Mm,
you'll find after some years, you'll find that you go to look at your credit, and hey, this was hers or this was his,
yeah.
on my credit report, and so a lot of times that does happen. You know.
Oh yeah, been through that myself, especially
Hmm.
when the early days of when you and I met, and I was going through rebuild my credit once again because I had just gotten out of a marriage, and of course where we worked, we were going through you know background checks and credit
Hmm.
checks and all types of other stuff, and I got one of those notifications, hey, you got this that popped up on your credit report, can you explain that? And it's like, wait a minute, like I haven't I was that's not my account, but it turns out that because I was married and it was open during the marriage, it was
Yeah.
mine, and she just kind of just left it, to for the wind.
Yep.
Oh,
That
mhm.
definitely does happen. Yeah, way too often, but it does happen. So, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
This is
So,
your show.
so a lot of times, going back to like how can you boost your credit?
Hmm.
I told you, Keenan, that after this show, I want them to be able to take actionable steps, like right after this, that they could do.
Hmm.
So I'm a credit repair, uh, um, not agent, but I have my own credit repair company, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of people will come to me and I give them a lot of free game and tell them, hey, if you don't have time to do this, that's when I will step in and I could do this for you. It's a lot of laws that's in your benefit as a consumer,
Hmm.
like the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Um, so that can help you. And that's where people with credit companies, they know these laws and know how to word certain things and do certain things because of the law that's in our
Hmm.
favor that the average person may or may not know. So anybody who want to start fixing their credit, no matter where you are, even if you have like a 700 today, and
Hmm.
you can always go higher, right?
Yeah.
So anybody who want to start fixing their credit today, my suggestion would be right after this, go to annualcreditreport.com, make an account, sign up, print it out. So you could do it once a year, but print it out. and then just go right down the line. You could do this with your spouse, your family member, but go right down the line. Check off, highlight everything that's bringing down your credit.
Mhm.
Okay, everything that's in a negative, anything that's outdated, not accurate, or anything like that, highlight it. Okay,
Mhm.
so then if you go on my Facebook, wish we could put like a little link here, but if you go on my
Yeah,
Facebook,
you can. You can send it to me.
okay, I do that shortly. But if you go on my Facebook, I have I just put it up there too. I have a
See if I
dispute letter. I gave everybody a free dispute letter where they could just print that out and use that. So if you use that dispute letter, just put the account from annualcreditreport.com. It have the account, the days you missed, the late payments. It have everything on there.
do you
Okay,
mind if I show your
go ahead.
Facebook? Okay,
Sure.
because I know some people are kind of iffy about that. Let me give me one
Nope, I don't
second.
mind.
All right, let me do this. Share screen. Boom.
And it's right is I think I put it above the video. It should be the first video because I pinned that video in there. So if you go
Okay.
down a little bit, yep. So it's right there. Hit the more.
You said more.
Yeah, right on that video. It's at the top. It's gonna be right there. That link. There it is.
Okay.
Right. So use that dispute letter. So
Okay.
everything that you see on your credit report, you're
Hmm.
gonna put the account numbers. Okay, so you're just gonna fill this in with your name, your address. Erase the second address, put your social. Then you're gonna do Equifax. I did the legwork. I gave you Equifax um, address. You just have to Google. Google is your friend.
Hmm.
Google TransUnion and Google Experian. Okay, just Google,
Okay.
get their address. So then once you print that out, print out 3 copies or make 3 copies. Next, get your driver's license. Just simply make 3 copies of that. I'll tell you why later. Then get like either a passport or a utility bill.
Hmm.
Make 3 copies of that also. Um, then put everything in a letter, all those 3 copies, and send it off to each bureau. So this is what a lot of people don't know. The bureaus have 30 days to verify that each of those accounts are accurate, up to date, and yours. Okay.
Hmm.
But if they don't, you gotta remember these bureaus are getting slammed with so many disputes, so many calls, so many traffic every single day. Every single day. If they can't respond back to you or get that verified in 30 days, guess what? That debt that it said you owe has to come off your credit report per the law, per the fair credit report net. Okay,
Okay.
so something simple as that the everyday person could do.
Okay.
Okay, something so simple.
Yeah. Yeah. This is definitely
And guess what?
simple.
You could do that as many times as you want to. So
Mhm.
let's say you did it the first time. It came back. Let's say they said, hey, this was verified. We could not. So when it gets to the credit bureau, right, they have to contact each furnisher. So if you had a debt with Verizon, they have to
Mhm.
contact Verizon. Hey, did Michael Stanley really have this debt? How much was the debt? What was Michael Stanley address? They got to verify all of this stuff. What is his date of birth? What if they got to verify it? Make sure this debt belongs to you or belonged to you. Okay,
Mhm.
so they got to do that with everything that you're putting on there. Everything.
Okay.
All right. So
Now,
if they can't, mhm.
now, what if like, because one of the biggest things that I've dealt with my entire life is like people spelling my name wrong.
Oh
So
my
what
goodness.
if so
Hmm.
what if you see something where it's like, all right, they get the first name right, but then the middle initial or the last name is just butchered, or vice versa. If there's like any misspellings or anything like that with like name or address.
So that's actually my strategy. So um, your credit report has different sections. The first
Mhm,
section is your personal information. That's going to house your name, your address, and things like that. If your
mhm,
name is spelled wrong, you could dispute that, and
mhm,
anything that's attached to that incorrect spelling of your name will be 9 times out of 10 be removed. So let's say your name my name was spelled Michael. That's how my name's spelled, but somebody spelled it Micheal. That's
mhm,
inaccurate, and that's why I'm sending my license, my utility bill, the correct
mhm,
spelling of my name, the correct address, and everything. So that has to be removed. So
mhm.
yes, you always want to check your personal information, also your addresses. If you haven't lived at any of these addresses, but it's reporting on your credit report, get that removed also.
Okay. And now what if like they spelled the address wrong?
Also, dispute it.
Okay.
Yep,
All right,
let them
great.
know. I never lived at a a a wet lock. So I
Mhm,
used to live in Baltimore on White Lock,
mhm,
Linden and White Lock. So if it was the correct spelling was White Lock and they have Wet Lock,
mhm.
hey, that got to go. And anything that fell with that wrong address, that got to go too, because that's not me. That wasn't my address. That's not me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's
Okay.
inaccurate.
Okay. Wow. I mean, I feel like I'm learning this stuff all over again. Of course, like you and we've talked about it,
Hmm.
for months. We speak quite regularly.
Hmm.
Even though you got a busy life in the family, I got a busy life in the family. But it's just it's amazing to me how something as simple as filling out this letter, sending it out has I mean, even though you've done it for me,
Hmm.
going through your services, how much it has positively impact, my life, my credits, my credit life, my family life. Because man, I think if we still had the credit that we had before, I don't think we would have been able to get that car that we have now at the rate that we were getting it.
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing I want to give to your listeners. So
Okay.
let's say, okay, Mike, like my credit is in good standing. I'm doing pretty decent.
Hmm.
I did miss a payment. So there's another thing that you can do is
Hmm.
yeah, I like that one too. But there's another thing that you can do. You can send out a goodwill letter. So this is only for, hey, I've been paying um this account. I missed one payment. I messed up. I missed one payment. I forgot about it. I didn't put it on auto pay. So I missed one payment. That's going to affect your credit. Missing
Hmm.
payments affect your credit. Remember, payment history is 35%, calculates as 35% of your credit score. So if you simply send out a goodwill letter, and I have all these letters. So if you contact Keenan, he'll contact me, and I give you these. Anybody that inquires these, but a goodwill letter just simply saying, "Hey, I missed one payment." I usually have good payment history. They will make sure that doesn't go in your credit, or they'll wipe it from your credit if it's already on there.
Okay.
Something. The
All
simple
right.
things. The simple things.
It really is. It really is the simple things, and it's just amazing to me because I know when before you and I had started working together, I was talking about doing debt consolidation. You were like, "Hey, before you do that, even though I already started doing it, you were like, why don't we just pull your credit and see what we can get taken off?"
Hmm.
So before we get out of here, can you explain debt consolidation versus credit repair?
Hmm. So debt consolidation, a lot of people just simply don't get confused of what the two are. Debt consolidation is taking all of your credit and putting it in one ball. So now you're making one payment, one small manageable payment on on all your debt, just
Hmm.
paying it down. But it might hike it up to $20,000. So
Hmm.
if you're paying $100 a month on a $20,000 bill, when do you think you're going to pay that off?
Not anytime soon.
Right. So credit repair. What
Mhm,
we do, we go in, we analyze your whole credit report, and we just see what's inaccurate, what's not up to date. Um, we look at all of this and we dispute these things, and we could possibly get these things taken off of your credit report where you no longer owe any of that debt. Okay, so that's the
Okay.
difference. You still owe a debt consolidation, but now you owe a more manageable amount, just
Mhm.
in one lump sum. Um, Credit repair, we're going in, taking anything that's inaccurate, removing it, and then we also want to put good things on there, and that's the second part for you, Keena. But we
Mhm.
want to put good things in there to raise that credit a little bit higher.
Okay. All right, great. And now I remember you and I were talking offline and you mentioned it on the show. You are coming out with some advanced stuff for people that you would like to get out there.
Yep. So I'm actually coming up with a course that
Mhm.
um it's going to be for everybody to view, but of course that shows everybody from step one to A. I'm breaking it down Barney style, so everybody, it won't be no fancy terminology or anything that's just going to go over people's heads. It's just going to be straightforward. This is what you do next. This is what you do, and step by step by step, kind of like I'm walking you through every step of the process. I'm just not there physically with you. But yeah,
Okay.
that's what I got coming up.
Okay.
That should be actually done maybe by, and I'll give about 2 more months. We already started.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, Mike, Credit Savage, Stanley,
One,
I oh,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. I want
Go
to
ahead.
end with one
Mhm.
more thing. All
Okay.
right. So a lot of people, money is always a big issue,
Yeah.
and a lot of people like to figure out, okay, how can I get some type of come up? That's all I really need. Usually people just need one come up and they can strategize from there, right?
Mhm.
So this is kind of going out of our arena, but just if you do the math, 365 days is
Mhm.
1 year. How
Mhm.
much? Well, if you save just 20, first of all, Keenan, you think you could save $27 a day? Like, what do you buy that you could be like, well, I don't really need that a day? Like, do you like coffee? I
Whew.
know I like
Oh
coffee.
yeah.
So
It's coffee for me.
I could be
I'm
like,
a
"Hey, I
coffee
could cut
addict.
coffee out, I can, cut that little trip to, up here we got this thing called Sheets. It's,
Mhm.
yeah, Sheets. I could cut Sheets out, getting these little knickknacks and everything. $27 a day, if you calculate that, you're at the end of the day, at the end of December, you have $10,000. With $10,000, what do you think you could invest in? So $27, just go the whole year, $27,
Mhm.
save that a day. So you can have $10,000 at the end of the year. What do you think you could invest in? So
Oh
just
man.
something to get everybody gears turning a little bit. As
Yeah.
long as you got a job, hey, I'm gonna be with this job for a year. I'm gonna save $27 a day, like Mike said. At the end of the year, I'm gonna get my $10,000. As you're doing it, just think about what can I invest in those $10,000, and look into something called ETFs. Okay, you put your
Mm.
money in a bank account,
Mhm.
you might get 20 cents at the end of the year. So now that you got $10,000, look, one thing you could look into something called ETFs. Okay, and if you need help with your credit, Mo could give you my information. You could hit me up on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, Credit Savage. Just give me a message, and I got you.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely want to have you back. We're probably gonna talk about this again. Because I feel like this is something that people have to hear multiple times. So we're definitely gonna have you back, and especially I know me and Fat Jesus, we kind of talked about doing a financial show. We're trying to coordinate with some people who are actually in the finance industry, people who do investing. Whether it's Bitcoin, stocks, ETFs, like you were talking about. I think the new thing is NFTs, whether it's gold or all types of other stuff. So we are trying to coordinate with people to kind of get those voices out there because right now, the way that I see things happening, I don't think we're going to come out unscathed from this economic downturn that we're on. Not anytime soon. And if it is, we got to go through the pain before we get to the healing first. So
Absolutely. Yep.
but I mean, hey, Credit Savage, it's been a pleasure having you here. Of course, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, at least from my standpoint. But I'm just so glad you agreed to join me today to really get your message out to my audience, so that way we can talk about credit, because I know that that's something that people struggle with. I know I've struggled with it for a while, and I'm so glad to have someone like you in my corner to help me repair my credit, even though I've had good credit, have bad credit. And now I'm back at good credit. I don't look, hopefully, we don't go back there. But, things happen in people's lives.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that you're here for that.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
Oh,
I
anytime.
appreciate it.
So any final words whatsoever before we get out of here about, did you enjoy yourself?
Once again, thank you for having me. I had fun. We definitely have to do this again. Definitely have to do this again. Next time we'll just narrow it down so we can have more time on one specific topic. So
Okay.
whether that's credit, ETFs, wherever you want to talk about.
Okay, most definitely. And then I know just a personal tip, I think back in the day, I think you were running some you were doing like business
Still
ventures and
do.
stuff like that.
Still do. I
Yeah,
still do
and
vending machines. Yes.
yeah, vending machines. I remember,
Yep.
I think last thing you told me, you're renting out
Event centers.
event centers. Yeah.
Yep.
So stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure we'll have you back to talk about stuff like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
All right. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Hey, again, I want to thank my friend Michael Stanley Jr. for joining us today on the Edmo show. If you guys have any comments, please, you guys can post them wherever you see the comments, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Unfortunately, we're not on Instagram today just because of the interface issues. But you guys can also email the show. You guys can, since we do have the Credit Savage here today, you guys can text him at 717-609-4829. Text him the word credit, or hopefully you can probably text him the word Edmo. He'll probably know that you heard it from me, and and then that way you guys can start working with him. Trust me, I love working with him, not just as my friend, but because he is someone who is knowledgeable and very trustworthy. So he's not one of these people that are going to nickel and dime you. He's really going to educate you on what's going on with your credit, and he is going to empower you to fix it, and he's also going to help you along the way. So again, thank you, Credit Savage, for being here and joining us. And if you guys want to help us, please support our friends like the Credit Savage. You guys can also support our friends over at FTI. We're probably going to get them on the show. You guys can support our friends over at New Skin Cosmetics. But if you guys want to support us, please, you guys can go over to Teespring. We do have t-shirts. We do have coffee mugs. Unfortunately, I don't have any of that stuff with me right now because I use them regularly. But if you guys don't see anything that you like, please just go over to our PayPal, drop a buck or however much you feel is in your heart, as long as it's not your bottom crusty dollar. But if it is, just give us 5 stars if you're on iTunes and share the content. And until then, I will see you guys later. Peace out.